6:30 p.m. We're going to start the Braintree Town Council Committee on the Department of Public Works. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilor Ryan,
Here.
Councilor Mackin,
Here.
Councilor Flaherty,
Here.
all present.
We have approval of the minutes from October 20th, 2020. Do we have a motion?
Councilor Ryan,
So
I
moved.
apologize. Those aren't actually ready this evening.
They're
So
not
they're
ready, so we're not going to be voting on those.
Not this evening, thank you.
Okay. New business, we have 20075, Mayor, request for authorization to accept the provisions of section 419 of the Acts of 1998, chapter 194, and the intermunicipal agreement for cooperative recycling on the South Shore, or take up any action relative thereto. I see Jeff is here. I don't know who would like to speak on this from the mayor's office.
Thank you, Councilor Ryan. If I may, just as by way of background, what's before the committee this evening is a request from the mayor to essentially authorize the town's participation in the South Shore Recycling Collaborative. The collaborative was established in 1998 by a group of communities to provide a forum for cooperative management of solid waste. And in short, it follows the theory of kind of safety in numbers. And when you have a group of communities that come together, it presents more opportunity and greater leverage in negotiating and discussing issues around recycling and waste management. And so under the direction of Jeff Kuntz, who, as you mentioned, is here with us this evening, as well as Director of DPW Jim Arsenault and Town Engineer John Thompson, the determination was made that our participation in the collaborative would potentially open doors for the town in these areas and provide a great benefit and resource to the community as we move forward. So kind of with that, just by general way of background and with your permission, I would turn it over to Jeff Kuntz to add any additional information or answer any questions that the committee might have on this.
Thank you, Nicole. Jeff?
Thank you. Nicole is right. It's strength in numbers, and that's where we see the advantage. We've been involved in consortiums we created ourselves with Quincy and Weymouth that were very successful. So politics would get somewhat in the way, and we ended up with different contracts with different vendors. But the savings that we recognized and the opportunity to kind of lead in that process, which our office did, I think sets us up extremely well for this particular consortium. We have held back joining us in the past because I felt that we had the resources inside, and which we still do. But I think we need to make an investment for the future. And there's one particular area that we've already begun conversations with the SSRC on, and that's recycling processing. No communities have come together under recycling processing, and we've already begun a task force with them and with DEP to see if we can create one that would be independent participation from the RFP. But if we can reduce cost, increase service, add some additional controls, I think it would benefit all of our communities. The other area is in hauling. There is no consortium bid on hauling, and where that comes into play in particular is in the highway department. When we have to move material or remove material, having a consortium bid to be able to do that, I think would benefit us. So for those reasons, we brought this forward. We're joining in mid-year, so January is what our proposed membership time is. The membership cost is $4,850 a year, and that helps pay the administrative fees and the executive director of the collaborative. So I would request your support and obviously answer any questions you have about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Does anybody have any questions? I have one. Oh, Larry, go ahead.
Thank you, Jim and Ryan. A question for Mr. Coons is just, how much of a day-to-day difference does this make compared to, what you're doing now to if we join the consortium? Like, does it significantly change your operations, or things stay?
No, it will not change our operations for probably the next at least year. We will have to negotiate these contracts anyway. But why negotiate them from a position of weakness in terms of the volume when we could negotiate from the position of strength. And also, as our office continues to change because of the age of the participants at our office, we're all in their 70s. We all work part-time. And I think we need to establish alternatives for the future, whether it's a component like this, where we have resources that the DPW department can rely upon without having to add additional staff. As we begin to phase some of these people out, I think it's a benefit to the town.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Some of you folks look pretty good for being in your 70s.
I'll carry that message back. Thank you.
Kidding. Jeff, is this cost the $4,800 for the cost of a full year or a half year? We getting prorated for the year?
We're getting prorated for this year, so it'll be $2,400. And then next July, we would be obligated for a full year. And by that time, we'll have a much better sense of whether or not this is the right opportunity for us. But I think we need to give it at least that year.
Okay.
And coincidentally, just on that subject, this money is coming out of grant money from DEP. So there's no impact on our budgets, which is a
Awesome.
positive thing. Okay.
Great. Any other questions, comments from the council? Julia?
My first comment is that this is far less expensive than hiring someone on to make these evaluations and arrange these contracts. So I'm interested to know, I have two questions really, but the first is that I'm interested to know if, is this meant to forestall, the need for a potential hire, considering what you're telling us about the part-time nature and the age of the people who are involved in this part of our government?
I don't think the department necessarily needs a full-time employee. Administratively, we might be able to shuffle some of the activity as time goes by, but when you get into negotiations and the kind of effort we're talking about with this, it does take a lot of staff time. So the quick answer to your question, I don't believe we would have to expand. We've got 3 part-time people in the office, and I don't see that changing significantly for the next year to year and a half.
Okay, and if you don't mind, I have a question. You have an estimate where you say that this will result in a savings of $3.2 million per year in disposal costs at current rates. And I understand that that's not going to be realized or materialized this year because we have to arrange these contracts to really see how much it is. But I'm interested to know how you arrived at that number.
Okay, that number was arrived at from SSRC. That was a let's call it promotional number. Over the last several years, and going back to 2008, the impact that SSRC has had on their communities, particularly with the startup of the recycling programs and the single stream programs, they've been able to reduce their costs. We had nothing to do with that. We had no input into that. I do not see that kind of savings coming back again. And just by example, you go back to 2008, the town of Braintree was generating about 15,000 tons of trash a year. We're currently generating about 11,500 tons. Now, they had the same results, although many of the communities were drop-off communities. So that's where they found their number. And they were also negotiating different contracts with the disposal company. So there are a lot of factors that went into that, but I take no credit for their promotional position of $3.2 million. We did save money as a community. We saved a significant amount working with Quincy and Weymouth and the work that our office has done with those contracts, both before and after, but not in that realm.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, any further discussion? I am a firm believer in strength in numbers, and the communities involved. The best bang we're going to get for our precious tax dollar. And we're going to enjoy the economies of scale by joining this collaborative. As some of you know, I am Braintree's representative to the Norfolk County Advisory Board in county government, where you have multiple communities together. And this is exactly the type of team approach that I think will benefit the town of Braintree. So I'm fully support this. I want to thank Jeff for bringing this forward, working with Jim and John. And Jeff's been a tremendous asset over the years. He taught me about sustainability. He told me about sustainability one night. We were having dinner at Town Hall, I think, and he started talking about sustainability. And I said, what are you talking about? I didn't even know what he was talking about. It was that long ago. And he's been a great advocate for the town of Braintree. And thank you for all the work you do, Jeff. So I'm going to support this.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And with that, I would like to have the motion. Larry?
Make a motion that the town accept section 419 of the Acts of 1998, chapter 194, and the intermunicipal agreement for cooperative recycling on the South Shore, which provide for membership in the South Shore Recycling Collaborative.
We have a
Second.
motion and we have a second. Can we have a roll call vote?
Council Ryan,
Yes.
Council Mackin,
Aye.
Council Flaherty,
Yes.
3 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all.
So I guess we'll be seeing some of you folks in a little while. This is on the agenda for the full council tonight.
That's great. Thank you.
And with that, let's take a little break before we have to be there. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Council Ryan,
Motion. Aye.
Council Mackin,
Aye.
Council Flaherty,
Yes.
all in favor to
Thanks,
adjourn.
folks. We'll
Thank
see
you,
you in a little
everybody.
while.
See you in a
You're
bit.
welcome.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thanks, Nicole.